3Xs episode 8. Denver. Air up here is way harder to breathe in, but that sure doesn't mean that it lacks in musical accommodations. It's a mid-country hotspot for entertainment. I mean, that makes sense. It's on the forefront of legalizing like everything. That just makes it sound better. And as one guy once told me, if you build it, they will come. Denver's that spot. Plenty of amazing acts with roots. It is an absolute precedent for the creation of all sorts of sounds. Maybe it's the confluence of West Coast meets East Coast. Maybe it's the acoustics. But Denver has a ton to offer. But to truly understand Denver is to know the amazing opportunities to see absolutely anything under the sun. Literally. From the bands that grace the stage in the Mile High City, to the air that emits a cool breath of heavy reverberation. So where am I going with this? Red Rocks. Maybe one of, if not the most, notable and recognizable outdoor venues in the entire world. It's been around since the early 1900s. The Beatles have played there. John Butler Trio, Willie Nelson. They say that the rocks are magical, and if the short hike to the venue doesn't build the anticipation, the sunset over the stage certainly will. Yes, there are a number of bigger venues in town, but the big name artists want to play there. The sound's natural, the scenery is divine, and it sure beats having to stare at a scoreboard over the pit in any bigger venue. The focus here is entirely on music. But sometimes hiking isn't for you. And sometimes the outdoors can be absolutely miserable. Hot weather, bugs. That means a city venue with air conditioning might be more up your alley. And another long-running venue, which is actually on the National Register of Historical Places, is the Ogden Theater. Shouldn't need to question its background. I mean, Harry Houdini performed there. And it continues to be a major landmark for bands coming in and visiting this mid-country town. Bowling for Soup, Pigeons Playing Ping Pong, Black Pistol Fire, Xavier Rudd, Explosions in the Sky, Kishibashi, Charlie XCX, Sleater Kinney, Mount Joy. I mean, I could go on. This is just this year. This is a prime place, realistically, for anything that suits your fancy. And a historical building closer to downtown with air conditioning and an absolutely unbelievable experience. But sometimes obscurity makes for the best experience. Fortunately, there's Ophelia's Electric Soapbox. It's in a part of town known for being different. And the venue is an absolute treasure trove. It's a gastropub with an excellent Sunday brunch, I might add. The upstairs balcony seating and a downstairs main stage. The acoustics are phenomenal for a spot that is realistically just one giant cube. But I think it's the ambiance that takes the cake here. Red Rocks has the scenery. Ophelia's has the vibe. Even on bright, sunny days, one step inside makes you think you're in a completely different town. Everything about this venue has class. But you probably wouldn't recognize the musicians that come through. But I think that secrecy makes it even more enjoyable. One of those, you had to be there to see it kind of venues. Now, I've had a personal bias against Denver for a long time, mostly because everyone I meet from Denver is actually from somewhere else. But one look at the venues, one look at all the musicians coming through, you can tell why this mountainous town is a gem that has its own allure. It's talented. It brings talent. Denver is an amazing place, and we're going to get to all the bands that grace the stage in this special city. There had to be something unique about Denver that you couldn't find anywhere else. It's a land known for legal weed, on-demand orthopedic surgeons, airport conspiracies, and testing a kayak on rapids right outside of an REI. But by far, the most unique thing about the city is that they've embraced a rap collective with an MC in a wheelchair. Hence, we have Wheelchair Sports Camp, a funky, nearly worldly sound that brings beats and instruments into fold. And the song Teeth is definitely a display of those talents. Squeaky vocals, stand-up bass, and it's kind of mixed with a bit of an alternative hook. It gives you the feel of sitting in a smoke room or a jazz lounge, but it has a millennial edge. New sounds, new rhymes for days on end. And the drum plays really well with the production. That's a serious highlight that brings one piece to the front. The vocals, the raps, the rhymes. And it sports many other talents within its sound. The other members definitely make a name for themselves. But the composition here is immense with likable embrace. Is it a mainstream sound? Perhaps not. But it's a sound you can only find in Denver. Wheeling around. And if you think one guy in a wheelchair couldn't produce some serious beats, you're about to have your head explode. This song is incredible. Teeth by Wheelchair Sports Camp. You know that one commercial? Call 1-800-JG-Wentworth? 877-CASH now? Well, if you call them, you might get low-hanging fruit on the other side of the line, which means you should at least be giving them a listen. Their latest album has a number of beats, significant rap lines. It makes them distinct and popular in Denver. And one of my favorite tracks is Guest List. Get your damn money, because you'll need it now. Kind of starts out with this trashy beat. It lays on some random recordings of people calling that 877 cash now line. And yes, it's a bit of a rap stereotype, but that doesn't derail the efforts of this song. It eventually delves into this ka-ching type production. Aggressive stories of getting what's yours. And I think the tempo is the strongest thing about this beat sauce. Not only does it keep to the smoke room type feel that makes any rap song into an immediate anthem, but it brings hype. You can see this playing anywhere from lineups to college mixers, even post Super Bowl celebrations. Compared to songs I've reviewed in the past, this song offers serious bump and grind viability. And I think you get some serious street cred for trying these new songs with the homies. Guest List by Low Hanging Fruit. So it's not too often we could review musicians whose sole focus is to make jams. Usually you see it as kind of an artistic bridge in between tracks on an album, and they maybe last for like a minute or two. But that's not the case for the great Salmon Famine, who have made a name for themselves putting together feel-good, long compositions and calculated instrumentals. I think of the Allman Brothers when I hear their song Dopin'. All-out jam, serious guitar solo. It surprises even the casual listener. Saxophone on display, breakdown of guitar, drum hits. It's a get-up-and-dance type of vibe. And it should have you dancing on the hillsides if you ever visit Denver. Definitely a sunny day listen. Probably hear it at a brewery. Definitely walk by entertainment. I don't think this is any partner to the mainstream, but how often do you get to display the sounds of a city in their truest form? This is a prolific example of the Denver music scene. Denver-rooted band, mass appeal, local instrumentals. And I'm sure they're probably fine getting their free beer punches, having fun, and enjoying the scenery in a Denver hotspot. And one of the greatest things about this type of sound is that they aren't going to be influenced by some major record label. No production distractions, just music. And I think that separates themselves and makes them distinct, keeping to a true sound that makes people feel good. Dopin' by the great Salmon Famine. Now, I hate to throw Denver under the bridge here, but Hell or High Water by Wilderness, the latest release by the band, is something sophisticated that you are not expecting from the Mile High City. Just released last month, this is an exuberant new track from a band that's already on the audio tree level. Their earlier stuff has a fun vibe, it's inviting, it's progressive, kind of a breath of fresh air in both guitar and pop. What I love the most about the band is that nothing escapes from the vocals of lead singer Emma Cole. It's almost an atmospheric nature, and it makes for great listening, either for a day high up in the Rockies or on the beach somewhere else. The song Hell or High Water is censored, breaks the seal open with soulful vocals, vibrant guitar, and the guitar chord riff is really significant. And then the breakdown. Whoa! Just a moment of quiet listening. Then comes to Emma with an emergent gang of sound that presses on with a feeling of vigor. And the chorus is by far the most impressive part of the track. Which isn't to say that the rest of the song isn't. It's a bit of an answer to the question, lyrics first or sound first, when writing. But I think in this case, there's a third option, which is put your best instrument forward. And in this case, it's the vocalist. Put that forward first. Emma Cole, Hell or High Water by Wilderness. It's light, yet poppy, reminiscent of kind of a Paramore in a major key. And it's a new track you should definitely be putting on from here on out. The Lumineers, hipster band from Denver. Their most recently released album, Cleopatra, is many things. Lots of references to Greek theology, and I think the strength of the Lumineers is that they can come up with easy listening right on the go, pretty much as quickly as the Rockies trade away their talent. Thank you for keeping Charlie Blackmon for my fantasy team's sake. And I think Ophelia gets a lot of praise, but the track Angela may be one of the more underrated tracks because it is in the shadows of Ophelia. And it's not exactly the sound that made them popular. This isn't ho hey. Still, it's got me listening this week for a lot of different reasons. From progressive fingerpicking to emphatic piano, it makes the chorus solidified and impactful. And per usual, the Lumineers bring in some serious vocals. It's a fold of triumph. Catchy chorus line, spends a lot of time answering the opening instruments with more or less the same simplicity. And for that reason, I'm listening to Angela by the Lumineers this week. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same. And that's certainly the case when it comes to the song All at Once by Denver favorite, the Fray. The song All at Once comes from their debut album, with songs, if you remember, How to Save a Life and Cable Car. The band took the mainstream by force, and they haven't left. It's an emotional ballad of existential questions, hardened statements, and for a sap like me, it's a go-to for heartbreak and triumph. They're the right band, yet the hardest thing is to say that this song isn't as great as advertised. So I think that begs the question, whether or not this song is as great as people say. Does it suck? First, it's definitely a singable song. Maybe you want her, maybe you need her, maybe you've started to compare to someone not there. Strikes right in the third chamber of the heart, you know, the one right before the end. And it takes you through an emotional roller coaster of reminiscing and exact answers. It lifts even the bystander into a chord of sorrow, disbelief, while moving into the next stage. Maybe not a hype song, but certainly an engaging song. And for that line, I don't think Mr. Dylan could have sung this better. Maybe you want her. Maybe you need her. Maybe you've started to compare to someone not there. It's a little too simple. Yes, it has all of the elements. Rhyme, emotion, build up. But I don't think it plays to his strengths. And I think that makes the Fray even more capable of singing this song. And for cultural impact, it has all of that. From the ability to tap into the heartbeat of what everyone is feeling, to the fact that this was the third most successful off of their debut album. Behind the other two, How to Save a Life and Cable Car, it has a unique sound that finds strength in the blank space. And that's certainly avoided by other songs in this album. I think it offers more impact, it poses more questions, and it's a song everyone needs to hear every so often. So All at Once doesn't check any boxes. Hell, it may even be a great song, but as far as I know, it just doesn't suck. Keep on keeping on, All at Once by the Fray. Someone once told me that rock and roll is dead. And in a lot of ways that may be true, though maybe not as mainstream as the 70s, 80s, and 90s rock and roll had us to believe. But I think the genesis of rock and roll is still very much alive. Americana is the new norm. And one of the gospel truths of that scene is a man by the name of Nathaniel Rateliff, who travels with his band, the Night Sweats. And one of those songs, S.O.B., is a serious jam sound with classic sound, clapping, and soulful resound. S.O.B. It's a phrase I utilize when pinching my fingers in a door, or hearing news that makes my life significantly harder, but one that Mr. Rateliff uses with the constant pressure to get drunk when things don't go his way. It's a constant itch, a demon possession, and an interlude to the day-to-day blah that everyone encounters. And for that reason, I think it has great appeal. But is it great? It's catchy, that's for sure, especially at the breakdown when he starts yelling and singing, "Son of a bitch!" And for that reason, I think it also makes it singable. Even if the only parts I can do well are the clapping and the humming, maybe even the boom stomp. Pardon my tempo, not great, but definitely checks off those boxes. And when I worked in a coffee shop, we used to sing and play this song all the time. For some reason, despite the explicit lyrics, it had resolve with our customers, which leads me to think that caffeine is the answer to sobriety. If you can't stay up all night, you may as well be alive all morning. So to that degree, I think it is certainly a playlist-worthy song. Thumbs up number 2. And while I do think that the song employs a lot of the genre stereotypes that persist in rock and roll, I don't think it's as form-fitted as one might imagine. Plenty of booze-related insights here. But it's not the acquisition or the pervasive sex as an object type fold. It's moreover a ballad about getting clean and the struggle with that action. Also, it finds roots in the blues styles, singing about what ails you. So it clears that hurdle with a little fuzziness. Still, thumbs up number 3. So that checks all 3 boxes. Yes, great song, great vocals, great instruments. This will be a collective to keep an eye on for a while. They're already on a nationwide tour, and they will keep a huge profile for a long time to come. S.O.B. by Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. I was super excited when I decided upon Denver for my next city, because that meant I got to review the Yawpers. I love this band, and I think they're incredible for 3 main reasons. 1, they don't conform to the generic rock and roll. It's a 3-piece band with 3 people playing the entire song as is, and they sound almost exactly the same live as they do on their albums. Rolling Stone called them cowpunk, which is definitely something out of the blue and complex. Yet it's simply simple. They keep to their strengths in the heavy acoustics while offering a nearly metal-esque layer to an upbeat soiree of Americana music where they generally find their rhythm. 2, no concept is beyond their abilities. They can jam out or keep it contained. Guitar riffs aplenty, chorus lines come easy, even piano comes into fold sometimes. Even a very rare, sharp, but vetted saxophone. It's a recess of playground sound. Even the album themes and storylines are well developed, articulate, and at times reminiscent. 3, it's masterful. Each instrument is utilized at a professional level, or beyond. Sliding guitars played at BB King levels. Drum tempos, beats, they're effervescent and capped on the fizzy sound of the other instruments. And the vocals range with emphasis, be that a raspy yodel or yell, or a quiet and vibrant ring, or a soulful hum into southern drawled lick and whine. And to review one song would be an absolute injustice. And to leave Denver without giving them a mention would be an absolute travesty. They've already released 4 albums. They're veterans. Not only have they done multiple nationwide tours, they've done European tours. I would love for them to itch the ears of the mainstream, to make it big. But I also fear that the heartland sound they've genuinely perfected would be lost in production and influence. At least for now, you can enjoy these reckless bastards in prime unknown. Yet to change their blues into synth, crashing drums into 808s, and yop into whatever the fuck the opposite of that is. So let's simply give the yay or nay to each of their tracks, including some that you won't find unless you're an absolute vinyl nerd such as me. Then we'll give them a total score at the end. And arbitrarily send them off on another string of benign venues. Keep on crusade! The Yawpers' debut album was self-released and included some absolutely gnarly, tasty bits. It's true to the hard-hitting Americana tunes that they've found themselves akin to. This album definitely shines a light on all the strength of the band. From the savage intro track to the crash-heavy finale. Savage Blue, yay. Mother, yay. Distant Lover, yay. All Night Long, nay. At Last, nay. Garbage Man, hell yes. Darkening Doors, yay. Replace Me, yay. Rock Bottom, hell yes. Bartleby the Womanizer, again, hell yes. Silicon Love, hell yes. This album receives a resounding hell yeah from the 3Xs podcast. Plenty of solid sounds with a true troubadour introduction to the music scene. 10 out of 12 yays for this album. American Man! The Yawpers follow up their debut album with an all-out and transparent sophomore album. It truly complements the first album by continuing the amazing hard rock with folk at bay. It's a somber tribute to dive bars that they find themselves playing routinely, in a fitting fanfare for slide guitar. Doing it right, hell yes. American Man, yay. Burdens, yay. Tide, yay. Deacon Brody, yay. Faith and Good Judgment, yay. 9 to 5, hell yes. Walter, yay. Beale Street, yay. Kiss It, yay. 3 a.m., yay. The Desert, yay. Again, it's got plenty of good bits. They play with their sound a little, but they keep to the true heavy distortion that keeps your ears itching for more. Kiss It may be the only anomaly. Starts a little different than any of the rest, but then it tapers back to the roots. Great album through and through. 12 out of 12 yays. Boy in a Well! Oh, yeah, they signed this one for me. Concept albums seem like the rap scene's trick nowadays. But the Yawpers steal it back for rock and roll. Based on a story of World War I, yeah, the one before Nazis and A-bombs, this offers some more mature sound, especially compared to American Man. Armistice Day, yay. A Decision's Made, hell yes. A Visitor's Welcome, yay. Room with a View, nay. Mon Dieu, hell yes. The Awe and the Anguish, yay. Mon Nom, hell yes. Face to Face to Face, hell yes. No Going Back, yay. God's Mercy, nay. Linen for the Orphan, yay. And Reunion, yay. There's some slower stuff that progresses this album along, but on the whole, it's a composition of storytelling, and it keeps you listening from front to back. Makes you think. 10 out of 12 yays. And Jack Black said it best in School of Rock. Motorhead. And here the Yawpers make a tasty rip on Ace of Spades. Hell yes. Can't find this one on Spotify, but the vinyl from Bloodshot Records is definitely worth the buy. 1 out of 1 yays. And the latest, Human Question. The concept album was definitely a very different direction. And this follow-up is definitely anything but. It's an emotional ballad of fiery rock mixed with some softer tunes that still exhibit the band for all of their strengths. Child of Mercy, hell yes. Dancing on My Knees, hell yes. Human Question, yay. Man as Ghost, nay. Earn Your Heaven, hell yes. Reason to believe, yay. Carry me, yay. Forgiveness through pain, hell yes. Can't wait, nay. And where the winter's in, nay. The sounds progress with some psychedelic influence. Definitely some vibrant keys in there too. But don't sleep on this album. It offers more good than bad. All of which are distinct and notable displays of the band. Especially as an up-and-coming trio of ear-gripping tempo and a total wall of sound. 7 out of 10 yays. So on the whole, I give the Yawpers a resounding 40 out of 47 over their entire collection of recordings. The sound is true while keeping it fresh. And I can't complain against one of my favorite bands. They are in their element, and I'm happy to have them playing in my headphones constantly. So that's all we've got for Denver this time. We've gone through some interesting artists here. From Americana to rap to instrumentals, this city's unlike anything else you can find. The influence is key. Right in the middle of the country, again, the confluence of West Coast meets East Coast, in a spot where people can explore different sounds, different venues, great acoustics, up-and-comers, up-and-coming scenes, and you can form-fit what you like with where you want to see them. So that's all we've got for 3Xs episode 8, Denver, the Mile High City. Again, check us out on Spotify, YouTube. We've got an Instagram, Twitter. I'm Hayes Clement, and we'll see you next time.